Amsterdam was written and directed for the screen by David O. Russell, and it stars a pretty gigantic cast. Like seriously, me saying all their names out loud will not do it justice. Just go ahead and check out the list down in the description box below. You're gonna recognize a lot of names down there. But this is a cast that's anchored by three friends played by Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, and the son of Denzel himself, John David Washington. And this is set in the early 1930s. It follows these three friends who witness a murder, become suspects themselves, and uncover one of the most outrageous plots in American history. Now, I know that plot sounds incredibly vague, but if you hear the word outrageous in the synopsis, you can pretty much see where this is going. Now, anytime David O. Russell comes out with a new project, I'm at least interested and intrigued to see it. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but honestly, if you look at his movies and his filmography, they're all at least solid. He came out with a movie called The Fighter, which is absolutely excellent. Christian Bale also starring in that film. Silver Linings Playbook is even better, guys. That movie is unbelievable. And a lot of people don't really like American Hustle here. A lot of people think it's kind of overrated, but I honestly really dig it. I think stylistically speaking, this movie is awesome. And David O. Russell brings a lot of this similar style to Amsterdam from American Hustle. A lot of similar, very long takes and really focusing on the acting here. All to go along with some incredible production design, which is extremely transportive. But what I think really makes Amsterdam stand out is the acting across the board. This all-star cast is phenomenal. Margot Robbie and John David Washington are your emotional anchors of this tale, and they do wonderful together. Margot Robbie is excellent as always. John David Washington just continues to impress me. I mean, look at his past films that he's done, especially within the past 5 years or so. BlacKkKlansman is a Spike Lee modern classic. Tenet was a huge hit in the pandemic era of cinema. And now here he is with a very stoic and very grounded performance in Amsterdam. And he has very, very nice chemistry with Margot Robbie, as he does with Christian Bale, who I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Christian Bale is our generation's Daniel Day-Lewis, and he continues to prove it with this movie. Any role that this guy accepts, you pretty much know that the movie's at least going to be decent, first of all. And secondly, you know that Christian Bale is going to throw his freaking all into this. And this character he plays is just so eccentric. He is so fun to watch. There's a really fun gimmick of him having a glass eye, which leads to a lot of really hilarious one-liners from him. Also, this is a doctor. Very, very smart guy, so he's definitely gonna have a lot of the answers in terms of solving this mystery. I mean, I loved Christian Bale in this movie. Honestly, if the Academy decides to recognize him with at least a nomination, I would be fully on board with that. He was tremendous. Obviously, our three leads are all great. Taylor Swift is in this movie as well, albeit very, very briefly, but she did solid with the time she was given. It's just a humongous list of talent that's too many to list. Anya Taylor-Joy is really fun. Her character is so easy to hate. Rami Malek, even, from Bohemian Rhapsody. I've had some things to say about him in the past, and I think he wasn't half bad here. Mike freaking Myers, guys. Oh my god. Where did this come from? This is basically a manufacturer who sells Christian Bale the glass eye, and he is just so fascinated with glass. Like, this is his life's work. It's certainly a better salesman role for Mike Myers than whatever Dr. Seuss role he was taking back in the day. I'm very, very sorry that I had to remind you of that. I mean, you can just see that this cast is loaded with talent. Zoe Saldana is really good. Timothy Olyphant is really solid. Chris Rock has a lot of really funny outbursts in this movie, one of which you see in the trailer involving a coffin. And of course, I would be remiss if I were to leave out the one and only Robert De Niro. I mean, this guy is just an icon. Absolutely an icon. And again, much like Christian Bale, any role he accepts nowadays, he's got to be very picky with his roles now, because I think he knows what a good script looks like nowadays. He's been around quite a bit, guys. And Robert De Niro is just so naturally charming here. And I think that's the big thing that a lot of these actors bring to these characters is the endearment. Even with Christian Bale and his eccentric ways, there is just something so gravitating about his grit. And you want to see these characters get out alive. You want to see them live in the promised land of Amsterdam. Which I should also tell you, this is a bit of a mild giveaway here, but this movie is titled Amsterdam, and it's prominent, I would say, around the first act or so. And it's certainly referred to throughout the rest of the movie, but it's barely in it. Which again should not be too big of a surprise for a lot of people. It's almost like naming a movie Brazil and having it barely take place in Brazil, you know? So it sounds like I'm really praising Amsterdam, right? Great acting, you know, really good production design. But Rotten Tomatoes shows me that the critics have been lambasting this project. They absolutely hate it, which may ultimately hurt Amsterdam's chances once Oscar season actually does come around in a few months. But here's my thing with this movie, guys, and I think I can see why people absolutely hate it. I'm one of the people sitting here who does not hate Amsterdam. I think this is certainly a very, very solid outing for David O. Russell. I certainly like it more than Joy, which came out about 6-7 years ago at this point. But my big issue with this movie is that it was focusing a lot more on the actors and not so much on the story. Because there are points where this gets way too complicated for its own good. See, guys, at its core, Amsterdam is a murder mystery. And these should be quite easy stories to follow. This one I feel like just has way too much going on that I sort of had to do like Excel spreadsheet data form of like, okay, this is happening over here. We have these characters who are against these guys. Like, it was a lot. Like, I got through it okay and I could sort of get a glimmer of what was happening. But man, it was really, really tough to follow everything. Now, I'm going to make a comparison that's going to sound completely off the walls, and you might think I'm absolutely bonkers for saying this, but think back to a few weeks ago. There was a little film that came out called See How They Run, starring Sam Rockwell. That's another murder mystery. You have a couple of really famous people in there, Saoirse Ronan, Adrian Brody, and that movie was really, really simple to follow. It got right down to the point, a lot of really great production design elements in there. It was really, really fun. Not to say Amsterdam wasn't fun, but I feel like Amsterdam took a little bit longer to get to the point. Like, this has a certainly resounding underlying message in there that I'm sure will resonate with a lot of people, but I feel like if you trims the movie down a little bit, maybe by about, I don't know, like 20 minutes or so, I feel like this movie would be a lot more striking and it probably wouldn't be sitting at 33%. But as it is, I think this movie is certainly very solid. I don't think this is a horrible movie by any stretch. I think the direction and the production design are absolutely unreal. And the performances by everybody in this all-star cast is just something to see. I'm going to go ahead and give Amsterdam a B. I realize that may be very high for a lot of people, I know, but that's just what I think. Let me know what you think of Amsterdam down in the comments section below, because that's what it's all about. There are no wrong answers here, especially when it comes to movies. And I love what I do here. Discussing all things movies and entertainment with you guys just gives me so much joy. So if this sounds like something you want to continue doing with me, consider becoming a subscriber today. Hit that notification bell right next door as well. And do me a favor and hit that thumbs up on your way out. That would be tremendously helpful. And folks, stay tuned for more exciting content hitting my channel very, very soon. Look forward to me continuing my Halloween special with the original Evil Dead movie. And yes, I will be seeing Halloween Ends this weekend, which, I mean, it's gonna happen. Whatever happens, happens. But guys, y'all are the best. Thank you all so, so very much again for continuously supporting this channel and this content. And with all that being said, back talk, commence!